We got the Falcons up at 22.
Quarterback?
Well,
no, hear me out. Kirk Cousins plays one more year, and then Penix is going to take over, but Connor Wigman sits behind Penix. When Penix is done, they have Wigman waiting in the wings. Everyone else is playing checkers, folks.
And you're playing 3D chess.
Yep, I got goggles on that have chess moves going in 45 different directions.
We are laughing.
We've got the quarterback to back up the quarterback that backs up the quarterback. Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Connor Rogers on a very joyous episode. It is the first mock draft of the 2025 NFL draft season. This is going to be a very fun episode. Not only is it one that we always love to record, but Connor and I, because we robbed you guys on the previous show of doing a little bit of the show planning before the show, and we had some comments where people were pissed about it. We haven't even seen the MDS order. We don't know what the MDS order is, so we're going into it blind. We're going to figure this bad boy out just like everybody else is who is watching and listening. Connor, we finally made it. How you doing, my friend?
It's time to pay the bills, right? It's time. We made it. It's mock draft time with this class. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Now that we've done all the summer scouting, you really got to lay the foundation before you could jump into the mock draft world. It just, and not that we don't in the past, but I thought we pumped our numbers up in summer scouting this year. In the past, we've done top fives. We'll watch a little more than that. This year, It's a lot of top eights. I think, did we do 15 wide receivers? We definitely did. 15 wide receivers.
At least top 10s, but I think we extended it even further than that.
Right. Yeah. And we were watching, 20 guys for certain position groups, and it makes this exercise that much more fun. Call me crazy, and we're not going to do this today, but we, in theory, could do this very shortly. You and I could pump out a two-rounder. We could do it. We have the power to do this. I just want to put that out there. I'm feeling good. So I'm excited to start with a warm-up game, our Akron game, week 1, a first-round mock draft.
Akron somehow catching references and strays in both of the in both of our last episodes.
The Zips
here
are the team of the pod, apparently.
Yeah, we might be. Yeah, the Addicts might have to unify with the Akron Zips this season. No, I can already see the comments in the episode like, two-rounder, baby, let's
cowards.
go.
Yeah, you won't.
And look, now that you opened up Pandora's box, we might have to get into it sooner than we ever have, because you're right. An exciting part of this college football season and this draft season here on this podcast for me is that we've done so much extra work. We've watched so many of these players. So the conversations that you and I get to have, it's less treetops. It's more in the weeds.
Yes.
When players are going up, stock down, all that stuff throughout the season, we're going to be able to showcase it for you guys. But a good way to set the tone is, of course, the mock draft. Now, because I think that this is funny, before Connor and I hit record, I went, wait a second. Because we really, I don't know the order. The only thing that I know is that the mock draft simulator has the Carolina Panthers picking number 1 overall. I think that this is still off of Vegas's odds to win the Super Bowl. So that is how the order is set up currently. And that will change, obviously, as the season gets kicked off and we actually get some wins and losses. But I was like, are there any teams that don't have first round picks? And that is the level that we're talking about, going in blind, doing this for fun with you guys watching and listening. And Connor's first thing was like, yeah, I think the Browns paid their dues, right?
Right.
And then,
is the bill finally paid?
Your immediate first question was, did the Rams do something crazy recently? Because it's always the Rams. And
always.
I don't know, brother. But if you're ready, I'll bring it up on the screen.
Never been more ready. Excited for this one.
Let's do it. Here it is. The PFF Mock Draft Simulator. Of course, you guys can use the fully unlocked PFF Mock Draft Simulator. If you go to pff.com, you get a PFF Plus subscription. All the great draft stuff throughout the year is going to be available on pff.com. And you can get PFF premium stats as the NFL and college football season goes on. So go ahead and get yourself a subscription, and you can use this bad boy just like we are here on this show. So I'm looking at the order now, just because that's the first part of this exercise here for me. Panthers at 1, Patriots at 2. Yeah, I get it. Broncos 3, Titans 4. All right. Giants, top 5 pick.
Hey, well, I guess I'll wait till we get to the team to ask team-related questions.
Commanders.
Like, I'm about to jump out of my own pants here. I got to just take a chill pill and just let the order fall into place, and then we'll talk about the teams.
Wait a second. They got the Bucs at 12. They're not making the playoffs?
Oh, the disrespect.
The disrespect from Pro Football Focus here on this show. I got to talk to who manages this.
It's like you talking in the third person.
It's just a Spider-Man.
You might be responsible for this if we don't even know it.
Got the Jets at 21. Might be a little disrespect there as well.
That would probably not be a successful season for the Jets.
No, probably
if they're
not.
picking at 21. But the new logo looks beautiful in the mock draft.
I love
Check
that logo.
Out. Shout out to PFF and the engineering here to have the new logo. Some places are not up to speed. Got to get up to speed. Looks so good.
Not PFF. We are fully at speed, if you will. All right, so we're only doing 1 round, but you guys can see on the screen here, you can do up to 4 rounds. We have that many players in the mock draft simulator. The updated big board is there. So we're going to select all because we're doing this for all the teams. Here we go. Buddy, the age-old question. You want odds or evens? Tampa was evens. Jets were odds. If it makes it up for you.
All right, I'll start with the odds then.
All right.
And we'll work from there.
Should we start off with the Carolina
7,000
Panthers?
of these.
Carolina Panthers. Where are we at here?
So obviously the conversation starts with, are they going to come out of this season feeling good about Bryce Young? And I personally think he's going to be okay. Like I'm not obviously in the territory where I'm taking a quarterback here. Number one, I don't value a quarterback here, most importantly.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down for the Panthers at number 1, which makes this a little bit more fun, and that's why mock drafts are typically a little bit more fun September, October than when things start to get a little cut and dried, is that you're looking at the conversation of typically the best overall player, right? Now, I know they have Derek Brown there. They have some talent up front, but going by my board, I'm not going to pass on Mason Graham here. Okay. I would rather just, now I guess the other argument of it is too, this is kind of my wheels turning here. Is there a receiver good enough that you're going to staple that receiver with Bryce? I guess that's the combo as well. I started with saying Mason Graham to me is the most talented player in this draft.
Yeah.
When you do look at the Panthers roster, Deontay Johnson is going to have a good year. Adam Thielen is at the end of his career.
Right.
I think Travis Hunter is a really good player that's going to end up playing wide receiver. I think Luther Burden and even Teteroa McMillan are better wide receiver prospects as it stands right now. I'm going to take Burden here, number 1, actually.
Ooh.
Instead. Yeah. I want to emphasize that if I was just taking the best player, I would take Graham. But knowing the mission that this ownership is on by hiring Canales and even drafting Jonathan Brooks and getting him right and paying all those offensive linemen, let's continue to support Bryce Young as much as possible. And for me, that's Luther Burden, who is my 3rd overall player in this draft class as it stands right now. Or 2nd overall. Sorry. He is my 2nd overall player right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that everything should be on the table for a potential number 1 overall pick at this point, because I would say that quarterback really is not in the conversation. I think that there are some people out there who look at Shedeur Sanders or maybe Carson Beck. I mean, there's some people I know who are crazy on Cam Ward and think about him being QB1, but I just don't think there's any quarterback that is firmly within the number 1 overall discussion. Now, obviously we might get to that point, but just to what you're saying, the fact that there isn't a quarterback there opens the door for all of these other positions. Yeah. Pass rusher, pass catcher specifically. Obviously, that corner, we've got some great cornerbacks in this class. As a cornerback, going to go number 1 overall. But big-time playmaker in Luther Burden becoming the wide receiver 1 for Carolina. Obviously, it's an instant starting player for them, an instant impact player for them. So he goes number 1 overall.
He just changes the game to me, and that's what they need out on the field for Bryce Young.
So number 2, it's the New England Patriots. Sort of this, I think about wide receiver here.
Right.
But it's interesting because you draft Jalen Polk, you've got Javon Baker, you got Pop Douglas as well. Is that enough to keep you from taking a guy like Mason Graham? You took your quarterback of the future in Drake May, you think, last year. I think offensive tackle is going to be a huge need for them.
I don't know how you can go anywhere else right now. And I know that's ridiculous to say at number 2 overall, with all the talent staring you in the face, whether it's Will Johnson, Mason Graham, Travis Hunter, Teteroa McMillan. This team has glaring holes on the offensive line that has them, honestly, in my opinion, afraid to play Drake May. I really do believe that right now.
It feels like that's where they're at. So I'll go with Will Campbell. I'm going to go with Campbell at number 2. He's my top offensive tackle in the class. Do you have Campbell number 1? Or do you have Kelvin Banks number 1?
I have Banks number 1. I ended up having Banks 6th overall, Campbell 8th overall.
Okay.
I think Campbell, it'll be interesting with Campbell's arm length, but he's a hell of a player, and I think he sticks at tackle.
Yeah. I think that he does as well. So let's go Campbell here at 2 overall, because I think the Patriots are going to be on a mission to improve that offensive line next season. And I agree with you. I think that that's why Drake May has not already been named the starter there. By the way, I just scrolled the first round. No trades. We got everybody in this one. We don't have to like dip into the second round, to get these fan bases involved in the mock draft format. We got them all here. The gang's all here for this one. So
gang is all here.
Broncos at number 3.
Broncos at 3. They got Bo Nix in the fold. I think, this defense, they get the Surtain deal done. This defense has pieces. They are oddly a little thin at wide receiver. I think Courtland Sutton's on an expiring. Why do I feel like that's the case with Sutton? I'm almost positive he's on an expiring.
Let's look.
He is. No.
Yeah, he's got to be close.
He technically has 2 years left, but you can... When I say expiring, there's almost no guaranteed money on 2025. They couldn't, and I don't know if they'd want to move on from him. I think Courtland Sutton's a bargain at his cap number, but the point is, they're in this weird place right now where at wide receiver, Marvin Mims had a rookie year that was okay at times. Troy Franklin did not have a good summer. They don't have a lot. They let Tim Patrick go, which I still have not really wrapped my head around. I just don't. Why would you not keep that guy for your young quarterback? I can't get inside the head of Sean Payton, and quite frankly, I have no interest in trying to do that. So I'll just draft how I want to draft here. I'm gonna take Teteroa McMillan.
I think that's probably where Sean Payton would go, even though you didn't want to go in the mind of a Sean Payton. I feel like that's where we're headed.
Yeah, right. Now, it's funny because a lot of McMillan's game reminds me of Sutton. I think he could be even better, obviously. But there's a lot of aspects of his game when Sutton was so great at SMU. I did kind of go back and forth to maybe get a different wide receiver. I thought about Hunter here. But I'm going to go with McMillan because he's so physically dominant. And thinking of Bo Nix throwing to him, it just makes a lot of sense in this offense.
Yeah,
2 wide receivers in the first 3 picks, by the way.
And that seems a little crazy, but they're that good, man. Like,
right.
McMillan's rare in his size and movement skills combination. Like rare wide receiver. So for him to be a top 3 pick, I don't think that that's an overreaction at all whatsoever. Luther Burden, it kind of just comes down to what kind of a playmaker do you think he is? Because like the ceiling of sort of his play type and his body style is like a Jamar Chase, right? And if you think he's a Jamar Chase level type player, then obviously you could draft him in the top 5. So some people see him that high, some people not as much, but that's sort of like the archetype of player that we're talking about and the overall playmaker. So we get the Tennessee Titans up at number 4 now. Offensive line's getting better there. They drafted J.C. Latham. They got Peter Skoronski. I like Lloyd Cushenberry. It kind of to be seen whether the right side of the offensive line, they're going to figure it out.
Is this the Will Johnson spot?
I could very well be. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is 30. I'm looking at receiver too. DeAndre Hopkins is 32. Calvin Ridley is 29.
Big money deal for Ridley.
Tyler Boyd's 29. Yeah, they're not like moving on from Ridley, but I don't know if they're really going to be in on Treylon Burks that much longer either.
No, new staff.
They've got L'Jarius Sneed. Did they give Sneed a new deal?
Yeah, he had to come with a new deal.
He got a new deal, right?
Yep.
They just drafted Devondre Sweat. They already have Jeffrey Simmons, so I don't really need to give them Mason Graham.
Weird team when you actually go through the roster and go, the Titans aren't as bad as people think they are.
No, not on paper. They're not.
On paper, right.
I'm between Travis Hunter and Will Johnson here.
Right, that's kind of the thought process. And it's kind of fun to imagine Hunter as a corner for them that can play in sub packages at wide receiver.
Right.
That's the fun theory if he's going to the Titans.
I don't know, man. We're back. We're back here
We're right back to I don't know, Jim.
I think I'm going to go Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I get
it.
I
think the NFL is just going to look at Hunter and just believe he's just too rare. I don't think he's going to get out of the top 5 of this upcoming draft. He's just too rare of an individual. For him to be able to play as much as he does at the successful level that he does, I think I think they'll take Hunter. And with the aging wide receiver group, he could be primarily a wide receiver for them. But like you mentioned, this is one of the spots where I think he could also be a corner and then moonlight as a wide receiver for this team. They'd be creative enough. So I'm going to go Travis Hunter to the Titans at 4, which puts the Giants on the clock at number 5.
With a giant conundrum, right? Because when this gets posted and shows the top 10 picks, the natural reaction to people that are not caught up on this draft class is going to be how did the Giants not draft a quarterback? But what quarterback am I taking 5th overall for the New York Giants in the spot? Maybe things change in 2 months. Like maybe I think Carson Beck is worth this pick. Maybe Shadur Sanders is worth this pick. I don't value those guys as top 5 picks right now. And the Giants, by the way, got themselves in this mess by reaching on Daniel Jones to begin with. So I don't want to go down that road for the New York Giants again. But I understand that it's hard to make an argument. How did the Giants move forward as a franchise without an answer at quarterback? But sometimes you can't just manufacture an answer. So
yeah,
I want Giants fans to keep an open mind with this pick. I'm taking Will Johnson here. I know that they drafted Deonte Banks not that long ago. This is a team that still really needs another corner. When you look at their roster, Malik Neighbors is going to be a star. The offensive line, you could argue they can keep drafting there, but it's going to take a step forward this year. They're not going to take a running back in this spot. The front 7 has a lot of talent. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of talent in the front 7. They have a glaring hole at the corner across from Banks, where they brought back Adoree Jackson like 5 days ago.
Right,
They were just like, God, we haven't liked anything we've seen.
Well, because they like Phillips at nickel, right?
I believe, yeah. I think Phillips will be their nickel, and then they have Newbin and Pinnock and Dane Belton as their kind of safety trio.
Yeah, they got Newbin as well. Yeah, the only other candidate that I bring here is your boy Kelvin Banks. If you thought that they should go offensive line instead,
yes, and there's a very obvious argument for that. They liked and paid Andrew Thomas at left tackle. They paid John Runyon. They paid Jermaine Illuminor. And they drafted John Michael Schmitz. Evan Neal's almost like an afterthought with this team.
He has to be at this point, unfortunately.
So you can take Banks here, and you could be like, okay, we're going to move Banks. Banks is going to play right tackle, and he's going to be the guy after Illuminor. Maybe we kick Illuminor inside. The Giants line just needs to be coached up and play better. Like at some point, they've signed multiple free agents and used multiple first-round picks on this unit and a second-round pick on this unit. Like at some point, you have to play better. You can't just keep going back to the well. And maybe the Giants will have to go back to the well. And I don't know if Joe Schoen gets that opportunity then. I like Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll a lot. Obviously, there's a little bit of heat on the Giants right now because there's expectations from the Mara family. I'm just going to take Will Johnson. I think he's a fabulous talent at corner.
Yeah.
And I think that if him and Deonte Banks are your corner duo with that front 7, the Giants Super Bowls, despite, us remembering it being about Eli Manning and big offensive plays, those teams were built on their defense. And the Giants need to get back to being an elite defense.
I really like that secondary then moving forward because it's Deonte Banks. It'd be Drew Phillips in the nickel, Will Johnson on the outside, Tyler Newbin, who I really liked, that you really liked as well in last year's draft. All of a sudden, that secondary, is a great young secondary to sort of bet on. Washington's now on the clock. The Commanders at number 6. Mason Graham's still here, but they got John Allen, they got Deron Payne, they just drafted Jerzon Newton. So
right.
I don't think that they're taking him. Safeties is sort of interesting. Like I like Malachi Starks here, but there's a lot of options right now for the Commanders at safety. And I don't exactly know how they're going to use Quan Martin or Jeremy Chin or Tyler Owens or Dominique Hampton. I know Hampton's playing a little bit more linebacker for them, but maybe Starks is just talent overall trumps all of that. But I'm not really convinced that that's the case. Cosme just extended, got a new deal.
The O-line has holes right now. Or shaky spots.
They drafted Brandon Coleman, who I like, but I wonder if this is a spot for Kelvin Banks. He could play what would he'd play left tackle.
Coleman could play
and then
guard.
Coleman could play left guard, where he has played at TCU before.
Yes. That's the play.
Yeah, is there any wide receiver? No, because the next wide receiver I got on here is Isaiah Bond, and I like Isaiah Bond, but I'd rather take an offensive lineman. We say this on this podcast all the time. They're not that you want to deprioritize receiver, because they're a big deal in today's game. Every team has the opportunity to get an impact wide receiver, one receiver.
Yeah.
Every 2 years. Every single 2 years. One of them will come open on free agency. Yep. One of them will come open for trade, or you'll have the opportunity to draft one, because it feels like every single draft class is just stud receivers after stud receivers. So if you need an offensive lineman or a wide receiver, I'd tell you should take the offensive lineman. So I'm going to go with Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas here, who not a great first game that he had against Colorado State, but it's fine. It's a long season. Sample sizes are much more important when they are bigger and more vast anyways. But you're on the clock here with the Cardinals at number 7.
Cardinals, really fun, young, ascending team with Marv there, Kyler healthy. They've added to this offensive line over the years. Still think they need some pieces on defense. I mean, at some point, you're just going to take the talent, and this is the easiest pick I will make in this mock draft. It's Mason Graham to the Cardinals defensive line. Game wrecker.
Yep. I agree with you. They've needed to continue to invest in the defensive line. I would love. This is a fun Johnny Newton spot last year when we were going through mock drafts all the time. Obviously, don't end up with Newton. They have Darius Robinson, but he's going to miss the first part of the season with an injury. So you're hoping that you're hitting the ground running. In 2025 with a really good defense. I think Mason Graham would be a great addition to
next to Roy Lopez.
Yeah, legend, of course.
Roy Lopez.
Think of a better trio than Mason Graham, Roy Lopez, and Darius Robinson. Can't.
Literally cannot.
Yeah, I can't. Minnesota Vikings now on the clock. Got a solid offensive line. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy in the holster. You sign Aaron Jones. Got Justin Jefferson. You got T.J. Hockenson when he's healthy. Defensive side of things, man, they need a corner, don't they?
Yes, they do. There's a damn good one staring you in the face. Fortunately,
oh, we got Benjamin Morrison here.
Yeah,
this dude's locked down. He'd immediately be a starter for them on the outside. They got Stephon Gilmore right now. They've got Shaq Griffin. Byron Murphy is playing the nickel. Yeah, Benjamin Morrison I think would be the best for this team, unless I wanted to go an edge rusher. They got Van Ginkel. They just drafted Dallas Turner, though, so I think they're right there. And they just paid Jonathan Grenard. All right, we're going corner. We're going Benjamin Morrison. Really good game this past week against Texas A&M. Was locked down, mainly as an outside corner, but also he had a couple of important reps in the slot as well that he continued to look comfortable in, like a shutdown player. So for as much pub as Will Johnson's going to get, Benjamin Morrison deserves a lot of love, too. One of the best corners in the country. So him going to the Vikings at number 8 makes sense. You're on the board now with the Raiders at number 9.
The Raiders on the clock. I think this will obviously be a team in on the quarterback class. They were in on last year's quarterback class. They just were, they lost the game of musical chairs. What do you want to say? Now they're going into the year with Gardner Minshew as the starter. Aiden O'Connell's still there. I think the Raiders will be one of the teams in the first round that, this is potentially a Shedeur spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, definitely a spot for Shedeur Sanders. I'm fascinated to watch with Shedeur how vocal Dion remains around selectiveness of where he goes. It's something he's done in the past, but things are different when it's actually the draft months, the months leading up to the draft. Do you? And obviously the Raiders would be a good spot, I think, for him to land. But I'm going to go with Carson Beck because he's my top quarterback, and I don't feel like we're at the stage of mock drafts where I'm trying to truly predict this is what I think would happen. This is just, I want to go with player rankings, introduce fits to me. I think as it stands, Beck is the best quarterback in this class. There's time for that to change, obviously. But I think he would be an upgrade from what they have right now. And they're a team that they know they have to be in on the quarterback class. There's a world where, you look at the Giants picking at 5 in this, and I wouldn't take one for them. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to be in on Dak Prescott, right? There's going to be some free agent quarterbacks. If the Falcons are like, hey, we're going to move on to Penix, Cousins could be out there. There's going to be other solutions besides this draft class, which is a little weak at the position. But as it stands, without having any of those solutions available to us, I'll go with Carson Beck here and get them, a true pocket passer that I really like the rhythm. he throws in the anticipation he throws with, how effortless things look. Beck's a good player that people just don't get excited about, and I hope he continues to improve so they do.
Yeah, I think that that's a really good breakdown of their situation, and it really feels like the Raiders are going to be that team that really needs to be in on a quarterback. Now, the Seattle Seahawks picking here at number 10, this is also a very interesting team because Geno Smith he's not on the last year of his deal, but if he goes into next season with the current deal that he has on that final year of his contract, that is a $38 million cap hit, which is a lot higher than the $26 million that it is this year. So there hasn't been like this restructuring or extension of Geno Smith. Obviously, like he's getting a little bit older. So is Seattle now with a new head coach, Pete Carroll, not there anymore? Are they looking to move on? I don't know. I'm not going to predict that with Geno still on the roster because I still think that Geno is a really good quarterback.
Right.
That kind of brings up, is there an offensive tackle that I would want here? Ursery, maybe.
Ursery, this is where the Ursery combo definitely begins, right?
I think it begins there. I've been on the record. I think that Emory Jones is more of an interior offensive lineman. And when you look at the Seahawks, they've got Laken Tomlinson. They just signed Connor Williams. They have Christian Haynes, who I like a lot, as this sort of the next man up there. He hasn't gained a starting role yet, but I think that he will for the long term. I like Charles Cross at left tackle. George Fant's 32 years old, so they could absolutely be looking at an offensive tackle here. I think that Ursery is in play. Man, but what about like Nick Scorton? Right, I feel like
he's a Seattle, right? Like big, athletic. Mike McDonald would be sign me up all day.
I think he's a perfect fit for Mike McDonald.
They have invested a lot in edge over the years, and I think they're starting to reap some of the benefits. Right? I mean, Boye Mafe, is he going to take a step this year again?
That's, I think, the big question. If he does, then I think they probably feel better about like Uchenna Nwosu still being there, having him, Derek Hall in reserve, who they drafted not long ago. You've got like
that line's going to be good. Byron Murphy's there still with Leonard Williams.
Right. And so that's
adding Skirton is the most exciting play to make a good unit a great unit, right? For a defensive coach that definitely prioritizes that.
Yeah, I'm going Scorton here to make Seattle's defensive line fierce on new head coach Mike McDonald. All right, Saints at 11.
So the Saints are up, and I know this once again. I keep getting they could take a quarterback here spots, but
Spencer Rattler erasure. Did you not see the preseason? Did you not watch the preseason?
That's why I'm not taking one.
Open your eyes.
I'm in on the Spencer Rattler experience for the Saints. I think he's going to play at some point this year, and I hope he does well. So this could be a pick that's not a quarterback. And then the question is, where do you go if you're the Saints? You got to start thinking offensive line. You really do. I mean, this is a unit that, yes, Talisa Fuanga's there. I guess we're going to try the Trevor Penning thing once again. Brother. Yeah, you're right. They really don't have a lot of options in that spot. I'm going to take Savania. We try it different ways all the time. Savania. That definitely, I've heard that in an interview introduced that way before.
If you say it fast enough, I think you'll be all right.
I think he's somebody that can stick a tackle, but there's a lot of upside. It's kind of like the Fuanga situation.
It is the Fuanga situation.
Right? But the Saints
difficult last name.
Yeah, there we go. We're running it back. Oh, it's so true. Ursery it's Ursery or him. I'm going to go with him.
Okay.
Because I liked him a little better this summer, but if they want this is how a tackle is built, they'll take Ursery, and that's completely fine. But Savania is just someone that I think is going to either end up being a really good guard or being a damn fine tackle, and the Saints need capable players on this offensive line.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Tampa's up at number 12.
Oh, this worked out perfect. You got the Bucks.
Right. So I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, we did this right. Good time for me to realize that halfway through the show.
I'm sort of tempted by Colston Loveland here, but I don't think they need it.
Kate Otten erasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will not be tolerated on the show.
Undraftable. No, Kate Otten's been good. It could go Takario Davis. it sort of depends on how Zion McCollum plays on the outside. It certainly depends on how Jamel Dean plays on the outside as well. I mean, there could be a world where they're desperate to get a CB1 in this upcoming draft. And so Takario Davis, maybe Siobhan Ravel from East Carolina, like those guys I think are.
I'm surprised you're not more in on the edge class here.
So that was the last position. That's the position I'm getting to. It was kind of like a run around to say all of that, but edge rusher is their biggest need now. It just, you've got guys that are very interesting, right? Michael Williams doesn't exactly have a lot of snaps as a true edge rusher. He's still a developmental player. Are you worried about that with him coming into the fold? Because the thing about Tampa is they've drafted edge rushers before. They've drafted Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. They've drafted Logan Hall. They've drafted players like that. Anthony Nelson's another one where they've sort of like tried it on the edge, but none of those guys have been explosive enough or true pass rushers enough to actually be major difference makers in the pass rush game. They've played. Now they're rotational defensive linemen for the team. But when you look at the Bucs, it's basically like Yaya Diaby's got to break out or it's nothing on the edge.
Yep. Diaby will, but...
What'd you say?
Diaby will.
I think Diaby's going to be good. I'm actually going to go with Abdul Carter here.
Ooh, hello.
I'm
Why have one Yaya Diaby when you can have two Yaya Diabys?
I'm just going to get the Lamborghini out of the garage.
Yep.
Like, let's just get the 0 to 60 pass rusher because that is something that Tampa does not have right now. They do not have a speed demon coming off the edge. And I like Carter more than I like Pierce right now, just because I've seen him carry a little bit more weight. I know he can do as a physical player and a tackler at the off-ball linebacker position, so I'm not really afraid of that as much as I sort of have seen James Pierce shy away from it at times. Not that he always does, but I'll go Abdul Carter here for the Bucs at 12.
Sounds like you just challenged James Pierce to Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Me and you.
This Sunday, brother.
Intercontinental title.
The Intercontinental. Not for the heavyweight title.
No. You guys aren't main eventing it. No, you're on the undercard.
Or the U.S. title, whichever one.
There we go. Now we're talking. All right. Colts up next here at pick 13. This is a team that, to me, I like Michael Pittman and Josh Downs. We'll see what Adonai Mitchell could do as well. So I'm not going to go wide receiver here. I have a certified hater. Anthony Richardson just hoping for a monster season. Can't wait to watch him play healthy. This line has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten better.
Bounce back for sure.
Loaded at running back with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, what more needs to be said there? It feels like they're tricky because I think Leatu Latu is going to be really good. They've had a tough go of it with edge picks over the years. It feels like even after taking Latu, they can go back to the well at edge pass rush. And I think that's kind of how Chris Ballard ultimately operates. He's somebody that understands you got to be able to rush the passer in this league and you got to have a roster full of pass rushers. So I think this is where I'm going to take James Pierce off the board just based on talent, right? Ooh. And the thought of him and Latu screaming off the edge. I mean, in a division, let's be real, Trevor, in a division that you got to disrupt CJ Stroud and Trevor Lawrence. So that's my thought process there. I'll go with Pierce.
All right. I think corner's probably on the board for them too.
For sure. I liked players here.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I didn't click it yet if you wanted to.
No, I'm going with Pierce. Okay. I like Takario Davis and Sikkema Ravel. I don't know if I love them in the top 15 yet. I got to get there.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So James Pierce Jr.
Like a first date, you know?
Yeah, you got to feel it out.
You had a cup of coffee or one drink and the conversation was good, but let's see where it goes.
Yeah, we got to see where it goes. Pittsburgh Steelers are up at number 14. Dating advice here in the NFL Stock Exchange.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day, I used to be on the apps.
Wow.
What a shit show. I mean, back in the day.
Yeah. Only apps I miss are half-price apps at Applebee's, Boneless wings. Me and Dan Campbell. Anyways.
Great promo. Dan Campbell, man.
Yeah,
what a guy.
We got the Pittsburgh Steelers up right now. A lot of investments to some young players along the offensive line. So not really. Look, obviously, like Broderick Jones got to play better. Troy Fautano's got to get healthy. Mason McCormick's got to get in the lineup. But Zach Frazier already looks good.
The Giants combo, right? Like some point, all these guys you've brought in during your regime, you have to play better.
Yeah. He just got to play better. Wide receiver, though, outside of George Pickens, could definitely use a wide receiver. Who do we got here? Isaiah Bond. Yeah.
Could be.
Isaiah Bond, and they drafted Roman Wilson, who I do like. But
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
I haven't heard anything about him this summer. But to be fair, I don't have boots on the ground at Steelers camp.
Yeah, can't be wearing boots. Not in the summer. D-line's good. Just re-signed Cam Hayward. Keanu Benton's going to be a stud. TJ Watt's a stud. You got Patrick Queen, who played better. You just drafted Peyton Wilson. You got Alex Highsmith. Corners.
Probably need one, right? Besides Porter.
Yeah. I mean, Corey Trice is, I think, good when he's healthy. You're just a little worried about that over the last couple of years. I still think I'm going to go wide receiver here. I think I'm going to go Isaiah Bond. I think they're more desperate for a playmaker or wide receiver, and I think they can figure it out at corner. So you cannot teach what Bond brings to the field when it comes to explosive athleticism. And we saw that this past weekend against Colorado State, and we get a great matchup this upcoming weekend when he goes up against Will Johnson in Michigan.
Oh, baby.
Brother, you know that's a nooner?
I did not. Game. That's really wild.
Horrific.
Well, I mean, this is a big week too, because I am unreasonably excited, and it's not just because I work for NBC. Whatever chance this game could be on Bravo, and I'd be excited to watch it. Nebraska, Colorado is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah,
you have like 45 storylines. One, this Nebraska defense is for real. Obviously, Shadur and Travis Hunter are must-watch TV every week. Matt Rule building that Nebraska program. Raiola looks like an awesome freshman quarterback. That place is going to be rocking. Like this is where you park your ass on the couch and you're watching college-related programming for like 17 hours.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you. I'm going to go Isaiah Bond at 14 for the Steelers, which means you're up with the Rams at 15.
Did you consider quarterback at all?
Yeah, but
you ran into the problem I keep running into?
I mean, I thought about Shadur there. I really did. Steelers fans, essentially, it's until Russell Wilson, the wheels fall off, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I did think about Shadur Sanders there. He was basically the only one that I considered at that spot. And then I'm like, is Pittsburgh one of the teams that Dion would say that Shadur would go to? Maybe because of Mike Tomlin.
Oh, yeah. I would think so. Who doesn't respect... Like, Mike Tomlin is just NFL royalty. Right.
Yeah. Could have been Shadur there. Could have been. But it's Isaiah Bond, so, tough.
I like it.
Yeah, I already clicked the button, so there's nothing... There's quite literally nothing I could do about it other than cope. So you're up with the Rams at 15.
I think I'm going to take Shadur here because either him or Quinn would be on the table here for me.
Okay.
At some point, Matthew Stafford's going to stop playing football, right? I mean...
Yeah, he flirted with retirement not too long ago.
It feels like he has for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think that this is actually the place that Shadur and Dion should be hoping for. Sean McVay, good wide receiver talent.
Yes.
Obviously, very capable offensive line. A team that uses the downhill running game to open up the pass. It's between both Quinn and Shadur in this spot. I think I'm very fascinated by the pairing, though, of Shadur going here with the Rams. So this is where he'll come off the board.
All right. Shadur
now,
Sanders.
If Stafford committed to them, I would take a player that helps them try to win a Super Bowl. Because
was Stafford like 37?
And he's got I feel like he has like the body. He's 36 right now. He's definitely turning 37, I feel like, soon. He technically is under contract for 2 more years.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just, I want to open up this possibility.
All right. Shadur Sanders to the Rams.
And it doesn't seem like Stetson Bennett is the, I know Jimmy G's there.
No.
Yeah.
No. Jacksonville Jaguars here at number 16, halfway through the mock draft. What are we doing with the Jags?
Well, they got receiver talent for days now.
You got the quarterback, you got the running back, you got good receivers. The offensive line, you're figuring it out. Could be offensive line. Could be interior offensive line. You got Trevor Walker still. Rick Armstead.
It's staring me in the face exactly what they have to do. They need another corner.
They do need another corner.
Really badly.
Is Balky still going to be the general manager of this team after this year? Yes or no?
I'll say yes.
All right, Siobhan Revell then.
You nailed it.
I mean, 1,000%.
Yeah, you nailed it.
1,000%. Siobhan Revell's size and athleticism combination, it's basically just the Trayvon Walker conversation at corner. And they get to draft him at 16 instead.
Yeah, you could actually talk yourself into this one.
Revell, by the way, I had some people shout out UTSA as the matchup for ECU to see Revell go up against DeCorley Clark, who we've been talking about for the last couple of years, but he went through a bad, I don't know if it was knee specifically, but just lower body injury. And I think there was wonder if he'd play football again. So I wasn't even sure if he was on the roster. I double checked that. So, if Clark is in the lineup there that week, I think that would be a good matchup for him. I think that's probably the one that we look forward to the most here as the addicts on this podcast. But Siobhan Revell to play opposite Tyson Campbell in Jacksonville at pick 16.
I like it. Yeah, it definitely makes sense with their process. The Browns at 17, another roster that's just really, really good. The thing with the Browns is they'll go as far as Deshaun Watson decides to take them.
It's true.
Maybe I do know where I'm going here, and I'll get there eventually. They have enough talent at wide receiver that could be in play here for the future, but we know how good this front is. They have cover talent on the back end. I'm going to go with Ariante Ursary here. I don't think Jedrick Wills has been what they were hoping for, ultimately. And I believe he's in a situation where, he's technically...
Is he a free agent after this year?
Technically, there's a ton of void money on his deal that tripped me up when reading this, but it all starts next year. So that means after this year, he's a free agent. Yeah. It was just a manipulation. Nobody is doing Saints cap gymnastics these days like the Browns.
They have to.
Did you know Jedrick Wills, per over the cap, has almost $12 million of void money running from 2025 to 2028?
I did not know that.
Very, very odd for like a random-ish kind of player. It's not shocking when if Myles Garrett had void money until we were going to be 75 years old, I'd be like, it's Myles Garrett. Like, you got to put that money somewhere. Very random. So yeah, Ariante Ursary, a new left tackle for the Browns.
All right. Wait. Before we read the Bears pick, because the Bears are next. The Bears are up on the clock at number 18. Got to talk to you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. NFL Week 1 is here. That's why we're doing this mock draft. Get it kicked off, baby. New season means new ways to get involved over at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The fans, the people have spoken. We want to bet on touchdowns. It's been chanted throughout the streets all summer long. DraftKings has heard us, and they are absolutely delivering. DraftKings Sportsbook, number one place to bet touchdowns this season. Whatever game you're watching, whether it's Eagles, Packers, Chiefs, Ravens, whatever game, your favorite team. If you are new to betting and you want to place your first bet, just try betting something simple. Touchdown. I think this guy's going to score. Boom. There you go. You can place the bet. New DraftKings customers get $5 and get $250 in bonus bets instantly, plus 1 month of NFL premium on them. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code PFF. That's promo code PFF. For new customers, you get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, and you get 1 month of NFL Plus premium on them. The offer will end September 19th, so make sure you get in on it. Only DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or just text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problems with gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, New Hampshire, and Oregon. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsibly gambling resources, visit dkng.co/FTBALL. NFL Plus premium offers are available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers, by the way. Additional NFL Plus premium terms can be found at nfl.com/terms. Also, it has been a wild offseason, a lot of different moves, some holdouts, some drama going up to the finish, or it should say the starting line for the NFL season. But this season, where to catch all of the news and everything like that, we'll be listening to the new podcast called The Offensive Line with Annie Agar. Annie is an NFL insider, and you might know her from her Uncomfortable Team Meetings on Social series that she has had. The Offensive Line with Annie. It'll kick back with NFL stars, celeb superfans throughout the season to unpack this week's lines, odds, spreads, all that good stuff, previewing all these games with her usual brand of sharp wit and banter that a lot of people know her for. The podcast is packed with humor. It's a must listen to keep up with the latest news and NFL culture. Follow The Offensive Line on the Wondery app or wherever you guys get your podcast. You can also access bonus episodes and listen ad-free right now by joining the Wondery Plus app. Chicago Bears.
That's what they call them.
Up at number 18. I'm in a predicament here.
Okay.
How much longer do you think
Caleb Williams plays?
No. Don't do that to me. How much longer do you think Kevin Byard's going to keep playing? He's 31.
Man, that was a sneaky fast career.
It was.
Was he an old prospect?
He might have been, because he was from a lesser
Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee. Yes.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2016.
He signed a 2-year,
he was like 20. He was like a 23-year-old rookie. Nothing crazy.
He signed a 2-year deal with them this past offseason. Most of the guaranteed money, as you would expect, is in this year. I think he's going to be around for another year, though. The only reason I'm bringing it up is because Malachi Starks is sitting here, right? And he absolutely should not be sitting here.
Yeah, safeties are going to get hurt. I don't know what you want me to say. Like safeties and running backs and tight ends.
Wait, who'd you pick for the Browns? I missed this.
Ariante Ursary.
Okay. Yeah. I forgot to click it.
You were paying the bills.
Yeah, try to feed our families. All right, then I think you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to draft Emory Jones Jr. as a potential offensive tackle or interior offensive lineman for the Bears offensive line.
Right. Ass kicker.
Again, he plays. So we should probably do a little bit better job of kind of explaining these prospects as we're going through it. That's the whole point of the exercise.
Not everybody here listen to summer scouting, and we apologize. I often forget that.
Yeah. Right tackle for the LSU Tigers. He has been starting since he was a true freshman at right tackle. I just think that he's built and his strengths shine more when he is at a guard position, although he has not played it at the college level. I think that that's probably where his home will be at the NFL level, but you get a little bit of tackle flexibility as well. The Bears would need that. Emory Jones Jr., number 18. You're up at 19 with the Chargers.
All right, this one's really easy for me. This is a franchise that saw many, many great years from Keenan Allen, and I think there are some similarities in Emeka Egbuka's game to Keenan Allen, and I would love to see this team get another wide receiver for Justin Herbert. McConkey, Egbuka, Palmer, like now you're starting to really have something here. And, Harbaugh coaching against Egbuka, he's going to know a thing or two about him. There was other guys I considered, Kenneth Grant in play here. Michael Williams conversation could start here, but I want to see this offense humming in a division that, you're going up against the Chiefs. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
I love the fit with Egbuka. All
right. So Emeka Egbuka going to the Chargers at number 19. Houston Texans now on the board at number 20. There's some good players here. There's some really good players here.
Yeah, some of the top talent did fall.
I mean, Kenneth Grant for this team. They got Fudikasi. They got Mario Edwards Jr. Now they have Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson as well.
Dude, that edge duo.
Very nice. Very nice. I think Derek Stingley's going to have a monster year. You got Kamari Lassiter, who I'm excited about. You get Jalen Petrie as well. Oh, man, Malachi Starks could be a great Stark spot, too. I'm down to 3 prospects for Houston here.
Okay. Tell me what you got.
Malachi
I guess
Starks.
It's Starks. Is Kenneth Grant one?
Kenneth Grant is the other one. And
is Deion Walker in play?
Oh, he should be. But
he's kind of fun in the middle. He wasn't
another name that I thought of. He absolutely should be, though. No, the third one was actually Ashton Jeanty.
Oh, man. But they paid Mixon, didn't they?
I don't think they paid him that much, did they?
I thought enough. Not that it matters. He did pretty well for himself. Mixon has guaranteed money into next 2025.
All right.
If they cut him, it only saves them $1.5 million of the $9.5 million cap hit. Joe Mixon got paid again. Hard to do in this economy for a running back.
It is really hard.
Sorry I ruined your dreams. I know you really wanted to make that pick, but I wanted to protect you from the fan base realizing they have Joe Mixon stapled to them for at least the next 2 years.
If I don't pick Malachi Starks here, are you going to pick it for the Jets?
Let me look at the board. Probably not, but because I like Kevin Winston Jr. better, how soon you are to forget.
Right.
But
right. Of course.
Oh, man. I'm looking at the board now. Who am I going to take for the Jets? That is a really fun option. Like, you throw Malachi Starks into that defense.
That right. I'm looking at the Jets defense right now.
And I'm like, it's crazy.
I'm almost trying to cheat here because I'd go Kenneth Grant or Deion Walker, no problem for the Texans.
And then you take him for the Falcons or something?
Who? No, I'm trying to set you up.
Oh, no.
Because Malachi Starks to the Jets feels like a dream.
It's pretty awesome. I'm also excited by Takario Davis. And I actually think I don't want to give it away.
All right. Okay.
You can do as you please with this. It's not a guarantee that it's Starks.
I'm going to go with Malachi Starks.
Yeah, he's deserving of the pick.
They've got some studs in the secondary already, but he's just such a good football player. For him to get out of the top 20, I think would be crazy because I have him ranked a lot higher than this. And him with D'Amico, with in a secondary that's already got Kamari Laster, it's got Derek Stingley Jr. That's pretty nasty. So now you're up with the Jets.
All right, so Starks goes to the Texans. Yeah, that is filthy what D'Amico would have there. So this is tricky, right? Because Jets have a pretty complete defense. I don't want to take a safety in the first round. I could take Kevin Winston just because of how much I like the player. Offensive line, the board kind of ran here. And honestly, you have Fashanu waiting in the wings. It's not as desperate as it once was.
Mm-hmm.
The wide receivers went off the board at an alarming rate. I know wide receivers should be in play for the Jets, but I'm not going to take Alec Manor this early, as much as I do like him. DJ Reed's a free agent. I'm kind of intrigued by Takario Davis in this defense. The other pick, by the way, was Colston Loveland that I thought about.
Ooh.
Because that would be a really, really strong selection for this offense that, assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to be back next year, Loveland makes a lot of sense, whether you retain or let Tyler Conklin walk. But I think I kind of want to go with Takario Davis.
I think in the grand scheme, if you're looking at more of a long-term plan, you probably should anyways, because I think that this tight end class is going to produce a lot of guys that you would be very, very okay with taking in round 3 specifically, like somewhere in this draft, maybe even round 2.
Right. The idea of a 6'4" corner in Ulbricht's scheme
on the opposite side of
Sauce. That's crazy. And they just paid Michael Carter to be their slot for the next 3 years. Who's one of the best slot guys in the league.
Damn, Davis already had 2 missed tackles from last game. What are you doing?
I was looking at his...
I haven't watched his tape yet from this.
Neither have I. It seemed relatively uneventful.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved his tape this summer. Loved it. It was electric. It was electric to watch. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Takario Davis. My dream in this spot, though, full transparency, probably would have been Savon Ravel.
Yeah, I bet it would have. Yeah, I bet
you
it would have.
You ruined that by taking... Yeah. By taking Savon Ravel at what? You take him 7th overall?
No, I took him number 3 overall. All right.
No, man. All right, Takario Davis.
We got the Falcons up at 22.
Edge
rusher, right? I mean, well,
three-headed monster at quarterback.
Jeez.
You're just not having it.
Edge rusher and defensive line. That's basically what we're looking at here.
No, hear me out. Kirk Cousins plays 1 more year, and then Penix is going to take over, but Connor Wigman sits behind Penix so that when Penix is done, they have Wigman waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
Everyone else was playing checkers, folks.
And you're playing 3D chess.
Yep, I got goggles on that have chess moves going in 45 different directions. Oh man, so convincing.
We've got the quarterback to back up the quarterback that backs up the quarterback. You can never have too many first round picks at that position. It's got to be defensive line. I have Michael Williams ranked ahead of Kenneth Grant and Deion Walker. So I feel like I might as well just be true to the board. The Falcons really need somebody to step up desperately as an edge rusher. They traded for Matthew Judon. They're hoping that Arnold Ebiketie takes that next step forward. I know they still have Lorenzo Carter as well, but
D'Angelo Malone is still hanging around there too, right?
D'Angelo Malone is, I believe, still hanging around. He is, in fact, still hanging around, loitering against the law, actually.
Just nothing going for him in the sack department. That's a shame.
I'm going to go with Michael Williams here because even though I'm not as high on him as some other draft analysts that I love around the industry who are really betting on his upside, I totally see it. The arm length is nuts. The explosiveness is nuts. I'm not as high on him, but certainly here at this point of the draft, second half of the draft, I'm all for it. The green light is on. Develop the dude. He's got some stuff in terms of how he is built and how explosive he is that you cannot teach. So I think the Falcons would love to get Michael Williams on their team for next year. Miami Dolphins, 23.
So obviously the Dolphins need offensive line help. I just don't know if the supply meets the demand here right now. The only guy I'm considering is Tyler Booker, who I really like. I really like Tyler Booker. This pick to me, Trevor, would be between Kenneth Grant. They just lost Christian Wilkins in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
The talent says Kenneth Grant, but the need says Tyler Booker. I'm going to go with Booker because you got to keep Tua upright and healthy, and what you could do in the run game with Booker, which we know how important the run game is to Mike McDaniel. I'll go with him. But I will fully admit that Kenneth Grant is a more talented player in this spot.
Yeah, I think that Tyler Booker is my favorite, maybe like pure guard in this draft going into the season. I think that if you're projecting Jonas Savanaia as an interior offensive lineman, I would like him better there. If you're projecting Emory Jones, interior offensive lineman, I like him better there. But Tyler Booker's a really solid player. So obviously investment in the trenches is something that Miami definitely needs. Green Bay at 24.
Oh, no. Packers on the clock.
No. It's a new season.
Doesn't matter. You don't know ball if you don't do what Goody does.
We know the Packers better than anybody.
We do.
Or do we?
Well, we don't have measurements yet verified for everyone. So we kind of have an out here.
I kind of want to go with the most anti-Packer thing of all time, but pick a good football player. I kind of want to give them Harold Perkins Jr.
Yeah, they would never.
No, you're right. They just drafted Edgerrin Cooper. I forgot. In all seriousness, all right, TJ Slayton's 26. They got Devontae Wyatt. They got Carl Brooks as well. Kenny Clark's only 28. Okay. They got Lucas Van Ness waiting in the wings. You got Quay Walker. You just drafted Edgerrin Cooper. You get drafted Javon Bullard. This team's good.
They would love to take Landon Jackson here. They would just love to.
This team's good.
It's a really good roster.
Man. There's no tight end or running back luxury pick for them?
No, they got 2 tight ends. They paid Josh Jacobs.
There's no reason.
They're a pain in the ass to draft for again. Like, welcome, hello, darkness, my old friend. I think, is it corner? Yeah, I don't think Denzel Burke's not big enough, right?
Yeah, who are you picking at this point?
Yeah, I know.
You're not going to pick Sebastian Castro or Jahdae Barron because you just drafted Jonathan Bullard to be that.
You're exactly right. You paid Xavier McKinney, you have Eric Stokes, you have Jair Alexander. Yeah, you're right. It's I think it's Kenneth Grant. Probably. Because even if Kenny Clark's there, yeah, even if Kenny Clark's there, that doesn't stop them from playing Kenneth Grant next to him.
Let me see.
Devontae Wyatt didn't work out for them, right? I feel like that's been kind of a miss.
No, he's cooking.
He's capable? Okay. No, I know the first year was not great. Okay. I stand corrected then. He had 5.5 sacks. He looks relatively productive last year.
I'm
I
looking up
don't
what
think
Slayton's contract is.
he's not stopping you from taking Kenneth Grant, though.
No, probably not. He signed it. Oh, no, wait. This is his rookie deal, isn't it? Oh, it's up after this year. We're golden. We're golden. He's good as gone, baby.
Who's this?
Slayton. TJ Slayton.
Okay.
Slayton. No, he's a good football player. I'm just kidding. I'm trolling, guys. But I am going to take Kenneth Grant because I think he needs to be off the board here. And I actually think that he would be a Packers fit as somebody who has a much better finesse game than you would think for a player who weighs 335 pounds. I mean, him and Mason Graham are the two best interior defensive linemen and the best interior defensive line duo in the country, no doubt about it. If you're catching a Michigan game this year, make sure you're watching the interior defensive line of those guys. So, yeah, you're up at the Cowboys, number 25. Couldn't have worked out better for you.
Yeah, I'm taking Quinshon Judkins here.
Sad.
Did you want me to take Genty?
Sad. Yeah. No. That's who is sitting on the board who I think would make sense for the Cowboys, but it's not the only pick that would make sense for the Cowboys.
It would be a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie here. I'm actually thinking of the depth of this running back class, and I wish they did this last year, and they didn't. They should just take their starting running back in round 2, and I'm actually going to go with Deion Walker here instead. Okay. Maybe Mozzie Smith turns the corner in year 2. I never liked that pick, and I thought it was not a great year 1. He still has time to figure it out, but I think they need a giant body in the middle of this defensive line that has strength like Walker. If you put Micah Parsons, and these linebackers that leave a little to be, you want a little bit more from them, like Walker can make everyone's life easier, in my opinion. So I'll go Deion Walker and say for Dallas, I would rather target the running back in round 2. You might still get one of the top running backs in round 2. Happens all the time.
No, that's true. Eagles are on the clock now. This is another difficult team to mock draft for because especially we haven't seen the rookies play yet. We're very optimistic about all of their draft picks. So at corner, like all that, like those picks we are already extremely optimistic about. Quinton Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. Is there a safety that's Kevin Winston Jr.
there.
Yeah. I mean, he could definitely be a pick here. I'm actually looking, all jokes aside, at Harold Perkins Jr.
I had a feeling that's where you were going to go
because they're not afraid to draft.
I thought you'd go,
but they're not afraid to draft smaller linebackers.
Yeah,
and one, Perkins plays it at SEC school, which they love. And 2, he's fast as hell. So Devin White already not traveling with the team. He's not going to play in their first game against Green Bay. Obviously, that doesn't mean he's not going to play throughout the season, but Devin White's only on a 1-year deal anyways. The other linebacker that they're going to play is, I think, Zach Bond, right? As an off-ball.
Right.
And he's been going between off-ball and edge throughout his NFL career. I'm going to draft Harold Perkins Jr. I think that he is an Eagles type of player. For as much as he is sort of a tweener with his weight because his game feels like an edge rusher, but he's just not big enough to be an edge rusher, the Eagles would be more than happy to sort of draft this type of uber athletic linebacker and sort of figure it out later. So Perkins Jr. to the Eagles at 26.
The Lions at 27. I'm going to go with Jack Sawyer in this spot. I've said for a while, it feels like they need another early down edge rusher across from Aiden Hutchinson. They dip into the Big Ten and find that guy.
Such a Lions pick.
It's such a Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, like glass chewing, edge setting, upside as a rusher. Sawyer, I love the floor. They're in a Super Bowl window. He's the guy across from Hutchinson in this spot. I get the pass rush upside with Princely, the size of Landon Jackson. I like Kamen Rucker a lot, but Sawyer is kind of the no-brainer selection here because of what he brings to the table right away and what he could tap into.
Bengals on the clock next. What happens with T. Higgins could mean a lot, but they got Jermaine Burton, and I think Jermaine Burton's going to be great. What happens with Jamar Chase contract obviously means a lot, but I think that he's going to be, I don't think that they'll let him go or anything. Offensive line should be better this year, especially now that they signed Trent Brown. Now they got Amarius Mims as well. Matt Lee even played really well in the preseason to make the team as a versatile.
What a juxtaposition. The biggest tackles on planet Earth and then Matt Lee. Nothing against, I shout out to Matt Lee. Like, it's wildly impressive. They just talk about such a different kind of body types.
I don't think Corleone would go here. Kevin Winston Jr. could. Nah, I like their safeties now. I like
keep the Godfather home.
Oh yeah, that would be homecoming for him. That'd be fun. Dax Hill, I think, is going to be good at outside corner. They got Cam Taylor-Britt. They got Mike Hilton. Who's left at corner that's on the board?
Denzel Burke.
Is Denzel Burke worth more to me than Ashton Jeanty would be for this team?
Yes.
No.
You loved Chase Brown.
I do, yeah, but like just because I love Chase Brown, I don't know if he's going to get that opportunity to play. Right? I felt like this should have been his opportunity.
I think he's going to play.
Yeah,
he got a lot of burn with the ones. I know.
I'm taking Jeanty.
Do it. Go off, King.
I'm taking Ashton Jeanty. RB1 going in the first round. I'm making the case for it. Shout out Chase Brown. I never gave up on you. I still believe in you.
You just literally Lion King style threw Chase Brown off the cliff.
I would never.
Or like the Toy Story one, like just throwing the toy on the floor.
Long live the king.
Bills at 29, the second easiest pick I can make. This is Kevin Winston Jr. This is a team that needs high-end starting safety. I think he's the best one in the draft. Elite tackler. Had a nice forced fumble against West Virginia.
Already a 90.8 grade from week one.
He's so like sound and physical and fundamental and smart and athletic and just perfect for this Bills defense.
All right, Ravens up now. We got any offensive tackles that would be worth it? I know they just drafted Rosengarten.
The run went quick.
Yeah, and like I like Blake Miller and Josh Sims, but I felt like Rosengarten was not really of the Ravens brand, so I felt like it was weird that they drafted him. And I would feel weird about also drafting Blake Miller and Josh Simmons, especially if it's one of them on one side, if Ronnie Stanley's not going to be with them much longer, and Rosengarten on the other. Like that's just a completely different offensive tackle duo than what they have had in the past with like Morgan Moses and Stanley.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to get that far away from their identity. I like Nate Wiggins as a starter for them long term. They drafted Trenton Simpson. Who's got a best player available? They don't really need tight end.
No. They have a great duo. Whenever Andrews gets hurt, likely just turns into Andrews.
I'm wondering if now I was a Ardarius Washington guy when he was coming out of the draft. I don't like, has Washington been good enough to where you can talk me out of drafting Billy Bowman Jr. to be a safety nickel corner hybrid for them?
It's a good question.
Because Bowman Jr.'s got corner-like feet. That dude can move really well.
Oh, yeah.
He's got excellent range, probably the most athletic speed-wise safety that we have in this class.
I feel like they're pretty loaded up in that area.
I'm looking up Washington's contract. He's up after this year.
Okay,
he
maybe.
Just signed a 1-year deal with them. I'm going to take Billy Bowman just to give Billy Bowman the shout out.
I mean, so, well earned. Billy Bowman's good.
I think that's a good way to describe Billy Bowman as well. Ball hawk, good range at the safety position. He's a little bit undersized for a safety, but I think that also means that you could probably put him at nickel corner at the NFL level on some plays. And I respect John Harbaugh and his defensive mind enough to see that with Billy Bowman. So I got him at 30.
All right. So the Niners are on the clock at 31. Obviously a team that has done a lot of business recently that is very helpful for their future. Trent Williams back in the fold. Brandon Ayuk back in the fold. Thank God Ricky Pearsall's healthy and, released from the hospital already. I guess I kind of lean defense on this side of things. I don't love the way the offensive line board fell. There's not this elite center in this draft yet. I kind of like Princely Umanmielen.
Okay.
Because he's traitsy and they love those edge rushers that are
Definitely.
loaded up with traits. I mean, he's almost 6'4", he's almost 260. He's long, he's quick, he's got speed to power. We've seen that Euro step, the spin move. I kind of like Princely in this spot for them across from Bosa. I'm going to go with him.
Okay. All right. Princely
the
Mon
edge
Mielen.
rusher from Ole Miss, formerly the artist from Florida.
Correct. I liked it the way that you explained him on Mielen. Really traitsy. I mean, he is somebody with some bend in this edge rush class. Somebody who really knows how to get up and under the outside shoulder of offensive tackles. Really good first step. Yeah, there's some times when, okay, if he doesn't win with the first step and with speed, you wish there was a little bit more there. But I agree with you. I think the 49ers sort of draft these great athletes and then are able to figure it out later. Chiefs on the clock at 32. We got them rounding out this mock draft here. Do I just go full madman and go Colston Loveland?
I was going to say, I was really hoping you would. That's not crazy at all.
No. They just drafted
If anything,
Jared Wiley.
Awesome.
They just drafted Jared Wiley, but Jared Wiley doesn't keep you from drafting Colston Loveland.
No. Colston Loveland at 32 is insane, first off.
I think it's perfect.
Kelsey, let's say Kelsey plays for one more year after this. This is beyond perfect.
I don't know if I'm crazy here. Chiefs fans might yell at me, but if they win again this year, just retire.
If you're you're good with everything you've accomplished.
Right. I mean, if he three-peats, if they three-peat at the end of this year, he will be. Now, I don't know how close he is to certain records. So, maybe playing one more year would mean the world to him to be on the top of the record books in some ways.
Sure.
But dude, you've three-peated. You've done something that no NFL team has ever done before. You're already considered by some to be the greatest tight end of all time. And I don't think the stats really change it for you. I don't think another year of stats will actually change it. The only people who believe that Gronkowski is a better tight end all time than Travis Kelce, I'm one of them, would just, that's just... It is what it is kind of at this point. I respect Travis Kelce and as the unbelievable talent that he was, but I felt like Gronk was just more all around and whatever. That's a different conversation for a different day, but I'm going Loveland.
No, it's awesome. I mean, shit, this is so cool if you're a Chiefs fan to know that Mahomes, when Kelsey's time is done, you get Colston Loveland, who is one of the best tight end prospects we've gotten to evaluate over the last couple of years. Obviously, Bowers was in unique territory, but Loveland's really, really talented, really good. I mean, why can't he be a Dalton Kincaid level prospect? And Kincaid's going to be Josh Allen's number one this year, in my opinion.
I absolutely think that Colston Loveland's going to be in the same conversation with Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm right there with you.
So that pick's awesome. That might be my favorite pick of the whole draft. I know it's easy to do with the Chiefs, but still.
There we go. First round mock draft. For those of you who might be listening on audio only, I'll be your best friend. I'll do it.
What a guy.
I'll list them off. Number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers. Connor selected Luther Bird III, the wide receiver from Missouri. At number 2 for the Patriots, I selected Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU. Number 3, the Denver Broncos taking Arizona wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan. At number 4, Travis Hunter going to the Tennessee Titans. Number 5, Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, going to the New York Giants. Number 6, the Washington Commanders taking Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas. 7, Arizona Cardinals, Mason Graham, the interior defensive lineman from Michigan. Number 8, Minnesota Vikings taking Benjamin Morrison, the cornerback from Notre Dame. Number 9, Carson Beck, first quarterback off the board from Georgia, going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Number 10, the Seattle Seahawks taking Nick Scorton, the edge rusher from Texas A&M. 11, New Orleans Saints, Jonah Savanaia, the offensive tackle / overall offensive lineman from Arizona, going to the Saints. 12, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, edge rusher Abdul Carter from Penn State. 13, James Pierce Jr., the edge rusher for Tennessee, going to the Indianapolis Colts. 14, Pittsburgh Steelers taking Isaiah Bond, the wide receiver from Texas. 15, Los Angeles Rams taking the second quarterback Shadur Sanders from Colorado. 16, sniping him from Connor.
Snipies.
Siobhan Revell, the first snipe of the season. It felt great. It felt great to break out the scope again. Jacksonville Jaguars taking Siobhan Revell, the cornerback from ECU. 17, Ariante Ursary, the offensive tackle from Minnesota, going to the Cleveland Browns. 18, Chicago Bears taking Emory Jones, the offensive tackle from LSU, or interior offensive lineman. I think he could play guard. Probably will play guard. 19, Los Angeles Chargers, Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver from Ohio State. 20, Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia, going to the Houston Texans. Takario Davis, the corner from Arizona, going to the Jets at 21. Mykel Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia, going to the Falcons there. 23, Miami Dolphins, Tyler Booker, guard, Alabama. 24, Packers, Kenneth Grant, defensive lineman, Michigan. 25, Kentucky's Deion Walker, going to the Dallas Cowboys, the interior defensive lineman there. 26, the Philadelphia Eagles, Harold Perkins Jr., linebacker, LSU. 27, Detroit Lions, Ohio State's Jack Sawyer, the edge rusher. 28, Cincinnati Bengals, Ashton Jeanty, the halfback from Boise State. 29, Kevin Winston Jr., the safety from Penn State, going to the Buffalo Bills. 30, Baltimore Ravens taking Billy Bowman Jr., the safety from Oklahoma. 31, Princely Umanmielen from Ole Miss, going to the 49ers there. And then 32, what Connor said was the best pick of the draft, the best for last, Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan, going to the Kansas City Chiefs. That was fun, buddy. It was a good time.
Really, it feels so good to be back.
We're back.
It's actually like we never even left.
The masculine urge to yell, "We're so back," after finishing the first mock draft of the season. This is fantastic.
Right after saying it's over.
We would love, right after saying it's over. We would love to hear from you guys as well. We know the mock draft episodes evoke a lot of thoughts on the picks, the analysis, everything. We would love to hear from you, whether it is something about your favorite team, something about a prospect going to a certain spot, a landing spot, whether we're too low, we're too high on guys. Let us know. Best way to do that, YouTube comments, youtube.com/@NFL Stock Exchange. If you're audio only, you can hit us up on X and Instagram at Tampa Bay Trey, at Connor J. Rogers. Connor, got anything else before? I don't think I told you this. So I'm going to be at Texas A&M in person this weekend to take a look at Connor Wigman.
Whoa.
We're going to figure out if it's full fraud alert or not. Hopefully not.
That's a big trip, especially when you look at their defensive line as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited seeing Nick
Shamar
Skorton
Turner,
in person as well.
Skorton.
Hopefully I'm going to get on the field to like stand next to him and be like, "Hey, Nick, do you know that you could host the pod?" And he's going to be like, "Yeah, of course I knew that." And then I'm like, "All right, cool."
Everyone keeps telling me this. Who are you excited to see at Florida?
At Florida? What do you mean?
Right? Or you? Oh, no. They have
that's next week. That's next week.
You're seeing them absolutely demolish McNeese State.
No part of me would be excited to go see Florida at this point.
When I just saw the counter, I'm like, he has to be going to the Florida game, but no, you are not. Have you been to a game at Texas A&M?
I have not. I've never been to College Station before.
Neither have I. I feel like I've been to a lot of the big ones. I've heard A&M is pretty wild football atmosphere.
Since they, expanded that stadium, I think that it's truly like a cathedral of college football.
Yeah.
That's how people talk about it. So
that's going to be. You definitely got to give your thoughts on the first pod we do next week, because I would love to. I mean, like I said, that program just has big time players. I hope Wigman throws 8 touchdowns in that game.
Sure.
And then does the Rodgers championship belt to you specifically. Or actually, no, he does it to the McNeese State student section. Then he turns around and he salutes you. That's because you stood by him. That if you're listening, Connor Wigman, this is your comeback tour. This is the PR move.
Correct.
Absolutely. Do the discount double check to the McNeese State student section.
Yep.
Salute Tampa Bay Trey.
And
then walk off the field.
Yep. That's what we need. That's what we need to keep him at the QB1
I'm feeling
spot.
good about it.
We want to hear from you guys as well. Let us know how you would love to hear us sort of cover this season. We've got 2 episodes that we're doing every single week. We've got some ideas, but what you would love to hear more of, less of, whatever. Hit us up in the comments, not just this episode, but every episode throughout the season. If you're like, hey, we're really missing out on this, I wish you guys would do a little bit more of that. We are a podcast of the people. We say that all the time. This is y'all's show just as much as it is ours. So let us know what you want to hear. Anything else, Connor, before we get out of here?
I think you nailed it. I'm feeling pretty good about this season, rocking and rolling right now.
Man, it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited to get the first mock draft. I don't want to say out of the way, kicked off, probably the way that I should say it, because we got the NFL season kicking off very soon after this. Appreciate everybody for watching and listening. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Connor Rogers. This is the NFL Stock Exchange Podcast. See you guys next week.